Most gardeners try to fix dead soil by adding things to it instead of growing the right things in it. They pile on compost, minerals, biochar, microbes and fertilizers, then wonder why the soil still crusts, drains poorly, or smells lifeless a season later. The consequence is predictable. Inputs get consumed or washed away, structure never forms, and the soil remains dependent instead of self-repairing. Dead soil doesn't come back to life because of what you mix in. It comes back because of what you grow through it. The soil underneath was noticeably darker and easier to work. Earthworms showed up where there were none before. Buckwheat doesn't rebuild soil by staying. It rebuilds soil by passing through. The fourth plant that restores balance is rye grown for roots, not straw. Cereal rye is misunderstood because people focus on the above-ground biomass. Its real value is underground. Rye roots are dense, fibrous, and persistent. They stitch loose soil together and pry apart compacted soil at the same time. In sandy or exhausted beds, rye prevents collapse. In clay soils, it creates pathways for water and air. I seed it thickly in fall and terminate it early in spring while roots are still active. Rye doesn't make soil fluffy, it makes soil resilient. The fifth plant that finishes the job is sunflower, when space allows. Sunflowers are soil movers. Their roots mine deep layers, pulling up nutrients that shallow-rooted crops can't reach. They also create thick, organic root mass that decomposes slowly. In badly depleted soil, a single season of sunflowers improved the following crop more than additional compost ever did. I space them closer than ornamental recommendations, focusing on root density rather than flower size. Sunflowers don't fix soil delicately, they force change. So why do these plants work better together than alone? Well, each of these plants addresses a different failure point. Radish breaks compaction. Clover, it feeds microbes. Buckwheat really jump-starts activity. Rye stabilizes structure. And sunflower, it deepens the system. When you use them sequentially or in simple rotations, honestly, soil improves faster than when you're just relying on amendments alone. This is especially obvious in raised beds where, mistakes show up pretty quickly. I've rebuilt beds using nothing but these plants, minimal compost, and time. The soil that followed needed fewer corrections every year. So, how does this apply in a small backyard garden? Well, you don't need acres. Even a single bed can be rehabilitated. Instead of forcing vegetables into dead soil, try dedicating one season to recovery. Plant aggressively and let roots do the work. Just, resist the urge to intervene constantly. After one full cycle, vegetables perform better with less fertilizer and less water. That's not theory, that's repeated observation. So, what can hydroponic growers actually learn from all this? Well, hydroponics removes soil, but it doesn't remove biology. Plants grown in rebuilt soil adapt better to hydrosystems because, honestly, their roots are used to complexity, not sterility. Using soil-building plants before transitioning crops into hydroponics, it just reduces transplant shock and root disease. The soil phase, you see, it really does train resilience. Dead soil creates fragile plants, while living soil creates adaptable ones. Why is planting more powerful than simply amending? Well, amendments are passive. Plants, on the other hand, are active. Roots are always exploring, secreting, prying, feeding, and restructuring soil continuously. When gardeners rely on inputs alone, the soil stays dependent, but when they rely on plants, the soil actually begins repairing itself. That's the difference between fixing symptoms and fixing causes. There comes a point when you need to stop and let the soil take over. The moment earthworms return consistently and water infiltrates evenly, the system is working. At that point, reduce interventions and let roots and residues maintain the balance. Overcorrecting after that stage, more often than not, does more harm than good. There's a reason why old farmers trusted plants more than products. They didn't have access to modern amendments, but they understood systems. They rotated crops to heal land, not just harvest it. Those lessons honestly still apply, especially as soils face more stress from heat, drought, and overuse. This is how dead soil becomes dependable again. Not overnight, not through shortcuts. It's through plants doing work underground while you stay out of the way. If this kind of practical, tested approach helps you grow better food and build soil that improves every season, go ahead and subscribe to the FarmLogic channel and share this video with someone trying to fix soil by adding more inputs instead of growing the right plants. Real soil comes back to life from the roots up.